Hey, it's Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and...
Sex.
And again, there's no sex involved in this.
Well, that's okay.
Misconceptions, the last video in the series. The misconception is that women are not interested in typically male hobbies or activities.
Yeah, I do think that's a misconception. And I don't know if it's something that's become more true as kind of times evolve, or if this was always true. I feel like women in petticoats didn't necessarily take on a lot of masculine hobbies, but I feel like more and more now, women have a genuine interest in a lot of the things that men are genuinely interested in.
And where do you think this comes from? Simply access?
Yeah, I think so. I think, where I would say women weren't allowed at golf courses, I don't think even 100 years ago or less. Now, I know several women who genuinely enjoy golf, which I think of as a primarily male-dominated sport or activity. I think the same is true with shooting. If I know several women who, with or without a male, have become genuinely interested in shooting, going to the gun range, learning how to handle a weapon, kind of for their sake of their self-defense, but they actually like it.
Right.
Once they become comfortable with it, they actually like it. So I think that, I never thought that I would enjoy dirt bikes. But you introduced me to that, and I freaking love riding dirt bikes. I don't see us breaking up, but I feel like if we did, I would still enjoy. I don't think that dirt biking is specific to just doing it with you. I genuinely enjoy it.
It's interesting because normally I would, on the surface, I would disagree with this most of the time, because what I've seen is women, when it comes to YouTube or social media, TikTok, even Twitter sometimes, women invading male spaces.
Sure.
Because they can make money off of it at the end of the day. You see it in politics a lot. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't a woman under 50 involved in politics.
True.
And now you've got a 23-year-old, out of the Capitol Hill, talking because she's pretty.
Yeah.
And the guys will talk to her, and they're hoping they'll go out with her, and
sure.
But you didn't see it.
Yeah.
And now you see more of it because there's more eyes or camera lenses, more distributor channels. But you do have a good point. One thing that I would say, too, is women are not going to get into a male-dominated area without either a father, a husband, or a serious boyfriend in that endeavor.
I agree. I don't think that women seek these hobbies or activities out that are primarily masculine unless they're guided into it in some way. I mean, case in point, my ex-husband and I played golf almost every single day. I loved it. I loved playing golf. I probably loved it more than he did. I really enjoyed it. But as soon as we split, I got rid of my golf clubs. I still love golf, but I don't have any interest in playing.
Interesting. And I guess maybe it's the enjoyment of doing it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. One thing that I would say too is this may be a confluence where the girls find out that they actually do enjoy it, but it also helps with viewership. Does that make sense? Because like when we're talking about like bass fishing, generally you're not going to find women out fishing by themselves.
Well, girls aren't going to be consistent and stick with anything if there's not a level of pleasure for them.
That's true.
Period.
That's true.
Whether it's with a man or not.
Yeah.
Because if they absolutely hate it, if they hate hunting, they might go out with their man a few times and then go, I'll stay back at the cabin.
I'll stay. Yeah.
I'd rather be reading. I'd rather be whatever.
Well, I've lost count. I don't know how many families we know that ski every winter, and the mom never leaves the lodge.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we go skiing, but I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, that's true. So what other kind of masculine or male dominated hobbies or activities can we think of that women that we've seen more and more women get into? Weight training, for one. I mean, that's a great example.
And what women, let's say in 84, 85, when I first walked into the gyms, like in 83, 84,
yeah,
there was one woman in the gym.
Yeah.
And we're talking about in a major city, in Arlington.
Right.
There was one female in there lifting free weights. That was it for a few years.
Sure.
I think Lisa Lyon, was the very first female bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really till CrossFit.
Yeah.
CrossFit got women into weightlifting.
It sure did.
Lifting heavy.
Well, think of in that 80s, early 90s phase of weight training, you can name the female quote unquote bodybuilders, because they don't look anything like the female bodybuilders now. You can name who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are a dime a dozen.
You have no idea who they are. And influencers and all that.
Yeah.
But I would say early 2000s, when CrossFit kicked off, was the democratization of weightlifting. And when we say weightlifting, we mean any resistance training.
Sure.
Kettlebells, barbells, Olympic lifts, squats, powerlifting.
Yeah.
You saw more women getting into it. Now they have like female powerlifting teams in high school in Texas.
That's true.
I mean, they don't mess around because it's, it's athletic too. But again, that gets them strong enough to do other things, like dirt biking, or like, it gets them strong enough that they can actually do physical sports.
Right. Well, even bicycle riding was a very male dominated thing,
True.
All the way to the old wives' tales about like you shouldn't bike ride if you were pregnant, or if you were, it was kind of like a childhood thing, but you shouldn't do it as an adult woman in any way because it would be harmful to your health. Things like that, just continue to emphasize the male domination or the masculinity of that activity or hobby. And
with what's interesting is like with running, women weren't allowed to like run in marathons till like the early 70s.
Yeah.
They'd be forced out. And now we've had women win ultra running contests,
yes.
Ultra running events.
And obstacle course racing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really anything ultra distance, it evens the score.
It
over
does.
time.
It
It's
does
very
quite a
interesting.
bit.
But yeah, there's all sports have kind of evened out to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
I don't
They're
think
not all equally exciting to watch.
No, any combat or contact sports where you're putting 1-to-1, I don't think, it's, even your strongest woman is still weaker than your weakest man.
It's true.
No matter what.
It's true.
Even under the best circumstances. But I think the number one thing is like kind of like watching you ride a dirt bike, and you naturally took to it well, and you're not afraid of falling off.
Well, I also rode horses as a child.
Yeah.
We always had
There's
horses.
carryover.
Yeah. And I've always ridden bicycles. Like
Yeah.
I've always done a lot of bicycle riding. So
Yeah.
I think that just the comfort and agility that I have on something like a dirt bike just kind of came a little bit more naturally to me.
Because even just like you put a girl on a bike that's not ridden a bike since she was, let's say she's in her 30s or 40s, and she hasn't ridden since she was like a child.
Ooh.
No, it's sketchy.
Yeah.
You truly have to relearn how to do this.
That's true.
But yeah, there's just more access.
There is more access, and I think more encouragement for women to take on hobbies kind of outside of their own comfort zone and try new things. And quite honestly, a lot of times, if they're not led into it by a man, they're led into it with the desire for a man.
Right.
Where do you pick up wealthier men? At a country club. How do you meet them? You learn to fucking play golf.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff that's just subconscious or subtle, but is definitely males are still very much the driving factor, even if women are not interested, even with the misconception that women are not interested in typically male hobbies or activities.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
they got it, or they do it with their dad, because like one of the best shooters I know is like her dad and mom, are both top gunners.
Yeah.
A lot of it is what you're exposed to every day when you're a child.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Motorsports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. So just understand that misconception, I hope that we kind of help dive into it a little bit and helped you better understand kind of when you see women in areas that you don't normally see them.
Don't write her off as just looking for attention.
Yeah, not necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily. We hope that you enjoy this podcast. If you do, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you need to discuss a challenge that you're having with women, with the opposite sex, with dating, attraction, relationships, or sex, our links for our in-person consults, our virtual consults, is in the description box down below. We save a lot of time, money, and frustration by just meeting with you one-on-one, and we've helped literally thousands of men deal with challenges that they're having, and we want to help you as well. In all things, we want you to win. Bye!